Welcome back. Now to a powerful tool with potential to shake things up and move the needle against Donald Trump in the impeachment fight. First, the context. Here are Trump's job approval numbers from the start of his presidency. Until the month before the whistleblower complaint, Democrats, independents, and Republicans all held different views, but they were remarkably steady. Then the dam broke. Public on-camera admissions of guilt.
By the way, likewise, China should start an investigation into the Bidens.
But to be clear, what you just described is a quid pro quo.
We do that all the time with foreign policy.
Was there a quid pro quo? As I testified previously, with regard to the requested White House call and the White House meeting, the answer is yes.
Those bombshells led to Trump's impeachment, but you can see the polling numbers barely moving. Previously, Democrats had looked to the impeachment hearings to sway public opinion. Now there's talk the Senate trial could do the trick, and that might happen. But there's another tactic that has already succeeded in pressuring and even removing heads of state. In other countries, a tactic Trump's opponents aren't deploying yet: mass protests. Let's look at South Korea. 2016, the conservative president had an iron grip over her party, but the majority in parliament was liberal. Having won a landslide victory in the country's midterm elections, that's when the conservative president committed a crime and then admitted it in public.
Prosecutors have claimed that this woman, a longtime friend of President Park Geun-hye, used that connection to shake down companies and top executives for millions of dollars, including the head of Samsung, even paying for a horse for her daughter.
And then the protests started. Hundreds of thousands of South Koreans stormed the streets demanding impeachment. The protests started small, but eventually grew into the millions. Still, liberals in the Congress, they didn't have the votes. Liberals held 178 seats in parliament, but they needed 201 to actually impeach the president, which meant swaying at least 23 conservatives to vote for impeachment to get to 201. So how'd they get here? That's the big question. For 20 straight weekends, millions showing up to protest for the removal of the president. After enough time and people and energy, conservative lawmakers understood which way the wind was blowing.
South Korea's parliament has introduced a bill to impeach embattled President Park Geun-hye, and the extremely unpopular Park, whose approval ratings have dropped to 4%, has seen her presidency engulfed by a corruption scandal.
Yes, you heard it right. The parliament introduced a bill to impeach the president based on the crime she admitted to doing, and with the pressure of, you guessed it, mass protests, there came results.
The South Korean parliament has voted to impeach President Park. So the South Korean parliament has voted 234 votes in favor of the impeachment.
The liberals were able to swing 62 conservatives after the impeachment vote. The bill went to the country's constitutional court, which, despite its name, is not actually a court, but a 9-person body which actually decides on constitutional issues.
Violent protests broke out in South Korea today after the country's constitutional court removed President Park Geun-hye from power.
There were protests in South Korea today after the president was forced out following a stunning corruption scandal.
And there are other examples. Brazil in 2016, the president impeached and removed after millions hit the streets. Ukraine in late 2013 and early 2014, protests helped force out Ukraine's president. In the Trump era, we've seen mass protests, notably the Women's March and the eruption of anger over the travel ban. But there has not been sustained, mobilized protesting over impeachment yet, or the underlying issue of corruption. And it's, of course, not clear how successful they would be. But for Trump's opponents, desperate to break the logjam and pressure Republicans, it is a potential approach that has led to the ousting of heads of state when the odds seem stacked against it. And short of influencing the impeachment trial itself, it's something that could have broader political impact on the 2020 election in November.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.